right, there we go. All right, I apologize. That was a bit of a weird delay. Welcome into the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every day, Monday through Friday, live from the E-Gallery studios here in the beautiful Dallas Design District. 3 years and running. Come one, come all. The chat room is open for business. Let's see who's first in today. I know I've been starting earlier and earlier. Well, not earlier, but let's just say this. The show's always supposed to start at noon, and for the past 3 years, it's been starting about 12:07 last couple of days. We're getting started right at noon. Why? Because we've got a new attitude around here. That's right. It's not this lazy, let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that the good Lord shines down upon us his blessings. No, that didn't work out. And I'm starting to think that there very well may not be a good Lord at all, and that we might actually make our own things in this world. So to that thought, let's go. Happy Friday. All right, let's see. Who was first in the chat? Let me open up the chat room here. We got Barney. Bad Barney. Was Barney in first or oh, I got to merge the chat. I got to see what I'm doing. All the chat rooms aren't together. Now they are. We got Facebook. We got YouTube. We got my friends over at Grindr. Is there a Grindr chat room? Because that might be a fun one to, I don't know, work on some role-playing skills. All right, who else? Leslie C is here. Chuckles is here. Doug, he's Kojak. Kojak's here. Man, let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something. I had a night last night that, I don't know who else had a night last night like this other than maybe America's unknown, currently operating serial killers and me. That's right. I had a serial killer night of watching TV last night. Who else is doing this? Do you know what I watched last night? I watched all night long. This is what I watched. I watched preseason football. That's right. Hall of Fame game. I watched that. Watched preseason football. And then I watched backstage remote cameras at Lollapalooza. Like creeper cams, like a Hulu creeper cam. I'll tell you, I've been talking about Peacock and how Peacock has just completely balled out with their Olympic coverage. It's crazy good. I don't even like the Olympics, and I'm watching Peacock and all that. It's just good. Game recognized game. They are really, really good at what they're doing. So Peacock is that, but Hulu is like taking the same kind of attitude to Lollapalooza, which is happening right now in my hometown of Chicago. And, I've been a couple of times, and it's quite the event around the city. And even if you don't go to Lollapalooza, but, you're in the city, it's part of the vibe. It's like a whole fun kind of, look, don't get me started on Chicago in the summertime. If you don't get hit by a stray bullet intended for a rival gang member, you can have what is quite possibly an evening as close to a utopian experience as possible. So I'm watching that. I'm watching the weird creeper cams back at Lollapalooza. And I got a question for you young people. Yeah. I've said this before. I'm not breaking any news. Why did you young people do this? Why did you young people make the club DJ a rock star? Why did you do that? I was a club DJ back in the early 90s, late 80s. That's what I did that. I carried my own records in the milk crate. And I'm like, this is nothing. And I always thought like, I felt like a rodeo clown. You know what I felt like? I felt like a world-class Bronco rider who was forced to be a rodeo clown. That's the shame that I carried into being a club DJ, because I wanted to be on the actual radio. I didn't want to be a club. I had shame about I don't know if it was millennials. Actually, I think it might have been you fucking millennials who did this first. But I'll tell you, Gen Z has really leaned into it. And that's making the DJ a rock star. I'm watching Lollapalooza yesterday. And I don't know, there's like tens of thousands of people, young people, and they're having the time of their life. And I don't begrudge them this, man. Seriously, although I reject on principle what it is that they're celebrating. You drop me in the middle of that and I'm celebrating right along with them. We're having fun because it's not the time for me to be this guy, the guy who's wondering why the fuck are you all gathered together watching a dude play other people's music? I don't get it. He's a dude at a record player. Is it? No, it's way more than that. Not what I saw. What I saw was just a really good club DJ. And I just never in a million years thought that the club DJ could ever be elevated to that of people who actually write and record original material. But here we are, thanks to you fucking millennials and Gen Z. All right, that's enough. That's enough of my Gen X rage coming out. Adam says, dude, that happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, so it was definitely Gen Xers. No, it wasn't. We didn't embrace that shit. It was our little, you know what it is? It's you fucking cusp Gen Xers who share way too much in common with the illicit millennials. That's what it is. Don't blame it on real Gen Xers. Real Gen Xers, look, our last fucking dying kick at trying to influence the culture was grunge rock. That was our last attempt. We tried college rock in the 80s, but nobody was really taken in by the Smiths or REM to that great of a degree. Then we hit gold with grunge and we rode that. And that's why we still drink too much coffee and wear flannels year round. Tell me, I get Adam. Adam's like, it was a Gen Xer. No, it was not. Jeez. Adam says, in this documentary, I saw it was an extension of house music, which came out of your beloved hometown. Now, I love me some house music. Those people were stars. Those people, that is a completely different thing than what I saw at Lollapalooza last night. First of all, the hot mix guy. Let's talk about the hot mix 5, shall we? BMX. Oh, back in the day, Jesus, just the artistry. Point is, these guys were taking music that you never heard before. It wasn't hit music, and it wasn't just. I saw a guy last night just playing like a slowed down techno version of another song, a song that was a hit song, and the crowd is going nuts. And all he did was slow it down and add a couple of beats or something. House DJs, house guys back then, they were just taking like tuba tracks and Japanese Casio programmed beats, and they were creating an entirely new genre of music that's different than what I'm seeing out there now. Ugh, don't get me. Peter says, TGIF, it's Friday. Says, y'all, I'm at Topgolf with my 2 wonderful grandchildren that drove in from Nashville to surprise me. Y'all have a great weekend. How awesome is that? That sounds cool. I'll tell you something else about Peter. Don't really know the man. Know him a little bit. Talented guy. Peter's never stood in a crowd of 10,000 people and watched a guy hit play. He's never done that. But that aside, I will continue all weekend long watching the festivities from my hometown's premier summer music festival, Lollapalooza. By the way, there's a really good documentary, 4-part documentary about the history of Lollapalooza. I think it's on Paramount Plus. It's called Lala. It's really interesting. It's about how Perry Farrell started it, and then hasn't really had any say in years. But whatever, it's fine. It's also interesting, and for those of you who enjoy concerts, and I used to, too old now, not even interested. Unless, what are you saying? REO Speedwagon is playing with Journey and Def Leppard? I'm in. Yeah, that's the kind of concerts I go to. Now, I ain't seeing no new bands. Here's the thing. I ain't seeing anybody on their first tour ever again, okay? I make that pledge. You know what? Unless, of course, my kid at some point is going to become a much larger influence on me, because I do pledge to stay at least slightly young at heart. So maybe he'll take me to a concert, and that's fine, and I'll probably pay for it. But you know what I mean? It'll be like him taking me and me going for him. But I'm never on my own going to go, like Schwartz, my buddy Schwartz. Dr. Schwartz, you may know him. He's Schwartz to me, but to the rest of the world, he's one of the globe's great plastic surgeons. I ain't lying about that. I know I joke, I tease him and all that shit, but no, you ought to really look at what other. He's good. He's good in the game, is my point. That dude's always discovering new bands. He's always like, it's this new band, and they're out of Iceland, or shit like that. He's like, I'm going to see them at House of Blues. You want to go? All right, my rich doctor friend. Are you paying? Because I'll hang out. You just buy my drinks and buy my ticket and all that stuff, and I'll be the best goddamn company you ever had. But other than that, no, I ain't paying my good money to go see some new band from Iceland. Did you know they're all only 17? No, I didn't know that. I don't like new music. All right, let's move on to what my second chapter in my evening as a serial killer wannabe was. I watched Hall of Fame game football. My Chicago Bears taking on the Houston Texans. Collectively Houston Texans. Here's the thing. Here's what they did. Houston, they were so smart on this, man. So, like, the Dallas Cowboys are like the team of Texas because we're from Texas and we're Cowboys, and that's what they named them, and we're Cowboys. And so, Dallas is big. Astros, kind of cool, but only really pertained to a moment in time in Houston's history when NASA and all that stuff was big. I mean, look, Space Center's still huge. In Houston, to a great degree, does define themselves by those accomplishments, and God bless them, they should. I'm just saying, I don't know that it's like in the core of the average Texan that, we're first in space. I don't think that's a thing. So when they renamed the team, they just called them the fucking Texans. It just everybody in the damn state is a Texan. This is your team. Boy, when I say that to my friends who are diehard Cowboy fans and who hate all things Texas, it kind of makes their head explode. They're like, that's not. What if they just decided to drop Houston from their name and they just became the Texas Texans? Yeah, and that's some marketing. Anyway, I watched preseason football. I didn't even watch all preseason football. I watched 3.5 quarters maybe of preseason football before the rain mercilessly came through and ended what. Here's the thing. I know I told you, and I even tweeted last night on my Twitter account. Yes, I still call it Twitter. Pugs Moran. Actually, that's not true. It's at Pugs & Co. on Twitter. You could also find it with Pugs Moran. But I tweeted last night. I said, I love preseason football, and I'm not afraid to say it. Something real chesty like that put out there. And I'm watching preseason football. And, look, so here's what you need to understand about me tuning in for that game, okay? I know about as much about this particular current Chicago Bears team as it stands as anybody. Trust me, I'm obsessive about the depth chart. I'm obsessive about, how many positions can our third string guard play? Can he also long snap? Because I'm breaking down who's going to make the team. Trust me, I'm pretty well educated on my team. Anybody else's team, I'm like, fuck that. I don't care about that. What am I reading about the Seahawks in my spare time? I don't think so. So I was looking forward to the experience of watching names, people that I knew. Now, I was certainly not expecting anybody who's expected to start in week 1 to really get more than maybe one snap. Certainly wasn't expecting to see any of the stars over on the Texans side. I didn't want to see, or wasn't expecting to see Will Anderson or CJ Stroud. It wasn't happening. And I knew I wasn't going to see Caleb Williams. We're going to play him in the Hall of Fame game. And I knew we weren't going to see Keenan Allen or DJ Moore or Cole Kmet. But I did think maybe we'd see a little Gerald Everett backup tight end. Maybe we'd see Rome Odunze out there for a little bit, number 9 overall pick rookie. I saw nobody I recognized, man. Seriously, the people that I recognized from like the first snap were only the running backs. And that's because we've got 4 running backs, and I know all 4 running backs, and all 4 running backs are pretty good. So somebody had to run the ball. So I got to see a little bit of Roshan Johnson and Khalil Herbert last night, which was nice. But that was it. Man, I didn't recognize anybody else on that. This dude who balled out, this Colin Johnson, he totally balled out in Mark Rippon. That's right. Mark Rippon in a Chicago Bears uniform balled out. So it wasn't. That's why I'm watching this thing and I'm like, I should turn away. And I'm like, I can't turn away. And I'm like, there's no value in me wasting any more time watching these guys who are all going to be selling shoes at Foot Lockers and malls across America in the next 6 weeks. Why am I watching this? And then the serial killer moment was like, because you can't stop. And I did. And you want to know how sick it got? They called it for a rain delay. They said, all right, we're going to remove the players from the field. And we're asking everyone in attendance to seek shelter. We've got extreme weather. The game is being delayed. And they went into a rain delay, like in a baseball game. And like a fucking madman, I sat through it. Like a crazy person going, I sure as hell hope this preseason game starts back up. And then when they suspended it, I immediately went and started watching creeper cams on Hulu of Lollapalooza. Creeper cams. It's what they are. I wasn't watching them for the creeper cam aspect of it, but Jesus Christ, man, these girls at Lollapalooza in Chicago are wearing nothing, and they are everywhere, and they all appear to be probably 15, but trying to pass as 25, and it's incredibly. So yeah, I had a weird serial killer night last night. Preseason football and serial killer Hulu. Hi, April. April's in the chat room. Says, love that Peter. She's responding to Peter, who's going to have himself a hell of a weekend. Jen Hernandez is here. Thank you so much. I want to thank two people in particular. It is Pledge Week here on the show. That means we are trying to. You think crazy unhinged rants like that come free? No. Tip me like I'm your bartender. Tip me like I'm somebody who parks your car or cuts your lawn or whatever. That's how I do this. I put my hat out at the start of every show, and I hope that you guys can digitally drop a little something in there, whether it's the Venmo or the Cash App. We start with a number on Pledge Week, and we try to knock that number down as much as we can. Yesterday got a couple of nice tips. Thank you so much to Jenna, and thank you to Mike D. Appreciate it so much, you guys. You're the best. All right, we've knocked that number down. We've got a few more days, 2 more. This show, Monday and Tuesday. So let's see how close we can get. Appreciate you. All right, before we get into it, I need to do this again. Code mix. Code mix. I don't know. It's an energy drink. I like it. Yesterday I told you how I was going to just bill them. Like I was going to make like a sizzle reel of me drinking this and saying that I think it's good, and then bill them and then just see. Like they don't have to, they probably won't pay me, but they might. Like there might be a dude that works there that is just hates his job. You know, it's like, oh, okay, what's this now? Maybe it'll come across his desk at 4:45 on a Friday. And he's like, what's this? Come on, I'm going to the lake this weekend. Okay, what? Yeah, fine. I just got to sign it. Maybe that'll happen, and I'll get a check. We'll see. Is that fraud? I need to ask Mark Lassiter. Mark Lassiter's an in-house lawyer we got here. He does a show over on ProPod Digital. I don't know if you can see him yet. I don't know if they're being posted, but I should ask him if that's fraud. I don't think it's fraud. How could that be fraud? I am actually. I mean, we didn't have any kind of agreement. But so what? I think my endorsement is worth something. Is that absurd? Let's let a judge decide. But Code Mix is good, regardless. And I heard it was local, but I don't know. I was really into it when I heard it was local. What's going on with my cup? Look at my cup. My cup is like, I don't know what's going on there. I think I got a hole in my cup. All right. Hey, Fast. How you doing? April, love you, April. I already said hi to you, though, but you know I love you. All right, hold on. Chat room's up. Everybody's in. Let's get started, shall we? The Rant. Here's what it is. It's me, unhinged, just ranting about the day's news, hot topics, current events. I got hot takes. I share them with you every day, Monday through Friday, right about this time on RadioMisfits.com. 4 quarters, we do the show. I perform this rant. It is a stream of consciousness rant, which means I'm just talking. Means I'm just, I get the next thing pops into my head and I say it and I don't really worry about what it is. Sometimes it's terrible. Sometimes it's wrong, but whatever. We just go for it. And you people in the chat room, you like to fact check me on the go, and that's fine too. All right, 4 quarters. First quarter, antecedently on this day. What's that? It's just my version of today in history. We go through a couple of events that have happened on this day, previously on this day. And we talk about them. They fuel the rant. Second quarter is birthdays. You know what that is. Third quarter is deads, people who died. We talk about people who passed away on this day. I battle gas throughout the course of this show. It's part of having no commercial breaks or no nothing and just speaking in a stream of consciousness manner. I'm going to be gassy. It's the human body. It's not like it caught me jerking off or anything. This just happens. Okay, so Third quarter is deads. People who died on this day, where'd they go? Heaven or hell? Fourth quarter, hot topics, current events, headlines, all the things people are talking about. This show typically runs about 2 hours, so buckle up. Let's go. It is the Rant for the second day of August, year of our Lord, 2024. Did you know that August 2nd is the 100... fucked that one up already, didn't I? It's the 215th day. No. Yes, it is the 215th day in the year. There's 151 of these left, so get those New Year's Eve plans started, as we say. All right, let's move into the first quarter. This is what we call antecedently on this day. Every day we go through all of these... Sorry, I lost my place. Every day we go through the events that have helped shape our understanding of what August the 2nd means to us. Let's get started. Antecedently on this day in 1492, the Jews. Check this out. Good story about the Jews. A surprising story. An M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong style story about the Jews. Now, what we know is they're being persecuted again. That's right. On this day in 1492, the Jews were expelled from Spain. Catholic Church was like, we don't want no Jews around here. So the Jews kicked them out, and the Jews had nowhere to go. On this day in 1492, the Jews are expelled from Spain. Between 40 and 200,000 leave. You ready for this? Ready for the M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong ending? Sultan Bayezid II of the Ottoman Empire, learning of this, dispatches the Ottoman Navy to bring the Jews safely into the Ottoman lands. The Christians kicked the Jews out, and the Muslims gave them sanctuary. Oh! That was wild. On this day in 1492. So don't tell me it can't be done. Antecedently on this day in 1776. Here you go. Are you ready for this? Are you going to the lake today? What are you doing? Are you off work? Are you going to be barbecuing? You got some big block parties, huh? Are you even in town? Did you go traveling for this day? No, you didn't do any of that shit because we lie to ourselves. Everything is a construct, right? I told you this yesterday. I'm like, everything is a construct. It's just something that somebody says, and then we all just buy into it and go, yeah, that's true. July 4th is not the day that we declared independence. July 4th is not. Today is. July 4th is a construct. So, today is the actual day. If we're truly about honoring history and going, it was on this day in 1776 that the signing of the U.S. Declaration of Independence takes place. I don't know why they decided on July 4th. It was probably, I'm sure it had something to do with money. Well, you see, it should be July 4th because that's more in the center of the summer when the American population hasn't spent all their money yet, and we should give them the opportunity to give their money to us. So fuck history, and let's just do it a little bit closer to the center. July 4th. It's a good day. I love it. I'm an American, but don't you feel a little duped? I do. We should be celebrating August 2nd. Let's see here. Antecedently on this day in 1923, Vice President Calvin Coolidge becomes the U.S. president upon the death of Warren G. Harding. Got to be honest with you, don't know shit about either of these two guys. Who the fuck is Warren G. Harding? What? He was like president for 2 years. Warren G. I know who Warren G. is. He's the stepbrother of Dr. J. Yeah. That's who I know. Warren G. I don't know no Warren G. And Coolidge? I don't know. I know Rita Coolidge. She was a singer. She was, I think, married to Chris Christopherson. I don't know either of these people. Screw them. Antecedently on this day, however, Calvin Coolidge becomes president after Warren G. Harding dies. Antecedently on this day in 1937, the Marijuana Tax Act is passed. This, in effect, would render marijuana and all its byproducts illegal. That's right. On this day in 1937, that bullshit, all this bullshit started. Before this day in 1937, you could just smoke a joint on a doorstep. You probably saw a lot of people back then would roll their own cigarettes. I imagine a whole lot of them. And not just the black people or the jazz crowd, as it was referred to back then. Is this something that the jazz crowd does? No. Cowboys were high. You don't think that like back in 1850, like a good 70% of cowboys weren't fucking baked? They're just like on a horse for like 1,000 miles. You don't think they're high? They're high. On this day, 1937, the true war on the people's flower began. And I don't know why. I don't know if it had to do something with cigarettes or whatever. Probably just another bad decision, depriving us Americans of our freedom so that a bunch of dudes in a back room could get rich. All right. On this day, antecedently in the year 1985, Delta Air. Now, this is why I mention this. I don't talk a lot about plane crashes because I find them to be just incredible downers, and there were so many of them. Before 2000, there were a shit ton of plane crashes. I'm just saying, my theory is that around 2000, the industry of air travel figured their shit out. But it took like 50 years of going, I didn't know that bolt would come off at 30,000 feet. You know what I mean? And those planes crashed. Because there were years and years of them going, okay, we haven't seen every possible scenario. I think by 2000, they had seen every possible scenario. And, well, look at me. How arrogant is that? We haven't seen an alien warship open fire with their nukes on an airplane. And we ain't seen that. But no, by 2000, I think airplane travel got pretty worked out. And if you look, we don't have airplane. Look, if you're Gen X like me, you know every week back when we were kids, another plane was crashing. There was another plane crash story on the news. That doesn't happen anymore. Now they have to be intentional. Now it's like, since 2000, the big airplane crashes, I mean, there have been a couple. That Malaysian jet was weird, right? But like the Twin Towers, that's explainable. That's not because a bolt fell off a wing. Anyway, it was on this day in 1985 that Dallas-Fort Worth had their big major plane crash. I think every city with a big airport has in their history a big plane crash. It was on this day Delta Airlines flight 191, a Lockheed L-1011, crashes at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, killing 137 people. That was on this day in 1985. Very few of you are probably even old enough to remember that. Antecedently on this day in 1990, we'll close it out with this. The Iraqi army invades Kuwait. That's right, the Kuwaiti invasion happened on this day in 1990. Started a whole bunch of stuff. Barney says Warren G. Harding didn't regulate. Here's why I love Barney. Because in my head, during the stream of consciousness, I was working on a regulate joke, and I abandoned it. And here's Barney. Look at him. Thank you, Barney. Great minds. All right, let's move on. Birthdays now. Let's talk about people who are celebrating birthdays. Bonum, bonum, bonum. They say it's their birthday. I don't know. I'm not going to check. I don't have their mom's phone numbers. Here we go. Born on this day in 1924. How about Archie Bunker himself, Carroll O'Connor? Here's the interesting thing about Carroll O'Connor. He was so famous. He was so famous as Archie Bunker. Like, God damn, like he was like the most famous guy on TV. There's Johnny Carson, Archie Bunker, and the Fonz, right? That was pretty much like the three biggest things in American television. And when you were big on American television in the 70s, you were big because people only had 3 channels. We didn't have phones and apps and platforms. There were 3 channels. Everyone in America were divvied up between the 3. If you were big on TV back then, you were big. Carroll O'Connor ain't never did nothing else, right? Carroll O'Connor is Archie Bunker. He kind of like got himself Gilligan'd. And we talk about getting Gilligan'd. Getting Gilligan'd is when you're so identified with a specific role that you can't get cast in anything else because people will immediately always see you as Gilligan. Bob Denver complained to his dying breath that his career was ended when he decided to play Gilligan. Carroll O'Connor, Archie Bunker, kind of had that too. Now, I know he had In the Heat of the Night, but maybe this just wasn't a time. Like today, if you were as big, no, not today, because I think it's even different now today, but 10 years later, if Archie Bunker had been as big, let's do 20 years later. Let's use George Clooney as a comparison. If Archie Bunker had been as big on TV in 1975 as George Clooney was on TV in 1995, Carroll O'Connor should have jumped to movies. Carroll O'Connor should have been, a guy that Gene Hackman. By the way, you want to hear some fun facts about Carroll O'Connor in roles that he didn't take but were designed for him? These are roles that Carroll O'Connor was offered but decided not to take them. The aforementioned Gilligan's Island, Archie Bunker was supposed to be the skipper. Huh? Imagine that. Think about that. I could see Archie Bunker, Carroll O'Connor as the skipper. There you go. Here's one that blows my mind, though. He was also supposed to be Dr. Smith in Lost in Space. Archie Bunker, Carroll O'Connor was supposed to be Dr. Smith. All right, moving on. Happy birthday, Carroll O'Connor. Born on this day in 1932, Lamar Hunt. Lamar Hunt, he's my neighbor. Or he's dead. Is he long dead? He's dead, right? I think. Yeah, he died in 2006. He invented the AFC. There you go. Let's give him credit. His family still owns the Kansas City Chiefs, and he is credited with being the guy that formed the AFC and the AFC NFC, or the AFL and the NFL merger, and now they're the AFC and the NFC. Whatever. Happy birthday, Lamar Hunt. You dead. Born on this day in 1932, Peter O'Toole. He was a drunk, crazy actor. Can't name one movie he was ever in except for My Favorite Year, in which he basically played himself. Peter O'Toole. Born on this day in 1932. Born on this day in 1937, Garth Hudson. Garth Hudson, keyboard player, The Band. I love The Band. The Band is such a cool band. Garth Hudson is famous in pop culture circles. He's the reason that Garth is named Garth in Wayne's World. You know, Wayne and Garth? Garth is named after Garth Hudson of The Band. Born on this day in 1939, Wes Craven. Isn't this weird, man? And I think it was my former partner, Kelly, who pointed this out to me years ago. My partner, Kelly, has a theory that some people have names that are just born to predict what they're going to do, right? I'll give you an example in modern times. So there is a boxer, a very good boxer, an English champion. I believe he's retired now. His name is Tyson Fury, right? Tyson Fury. Is there a better name for a boxer ever? Tyson Fury. Okay, so that's an example of it. I can't remember any of the examples that she gave, but they were all very good. But this was one of the examples that she gave that always stuck with me, and I thought that kind of proves her whole theory here. Wes Craven was born on this day. Wes Craven, 1939. He, of course, the master of the, not just horror film, but like the really fucked up horror film, like the really, dare I say, Craven horror film. And you might be wondering, no way, Pugs. I'm guessing that Wes Craven, when he decided that he was going to go into the horror and blood and guts genre, he probably changed his name to Craven. No. Wes Craven was born Wesley Jeremiah Craven. Let's call it Jeremiah. It's his real name, is my point. All right, moving on. Wes Craven, born on this day in 1939. Born on this day in 1955. Another guy that I used to see back in the day. He was, a couple months ago, we lost Steve Albini, and I talked all about how Steve Albini was ever present in the Chicago music scene, especially the alt scene back there in the 90s. And you'd be at a club seeing like, Urge Overkill or something like that. And you'd be like, oh, check it out. It's Butch Vig and Steve Albini. It's Butch Vig's birthday. Butch Vig, who is a master producer, especially in the alternative realm, after producing Nevermind, right? That's kind of what he's most famous for. First of all, Butch Vig is a kid from Wisconsin, right? He grew up in the Chicago punk rock scene, started an incredibly cool music studio, Smart Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, which is still a destination for bands globally. They come to work with him there at Smart Studios in Madison, Wisconsin. It's why I say Madison, Wisconsin. He is one of the guys responsible. I guess Steve Miller could also be given some credit for this. But when I say that, like, my two favorite places in America are Austin, Texas, and Madison, Wisconsin, because they're like they're almost the exact same thing, except that Madison, Wisconsin has 4 seasons. Like Madison, Wisconsin has frozen lakes and skiing and stuff like that, whereas Texas just has oppressive heat all the time. But Austin and Madison are very similar. Anyway, Butch Vig is very responsible for a lot of, especially the later success of Madison, Wisconsin music. There was a whole like bluegrass thing there earlier before that, and it's very historic with music. But Butch Vig, and of course he formed Garbage out of what Garbage sell 20 million records. Garbage, big band. He formed them in the studio right there in Madison, Wisconsin. Butch Vig, happy birthday. I never met him back in the day. I used to see him at clubs. Everybody knew who he was. He was one of the anointed princes of the new music movement. And yeah, so there you go. Happy birthday, Butch Vig, born on this day of 1955. Born on this day in 1959. This is going to require us to take a little bit of look-see here, because you know how I do this after years and years of having somebody frozen in my mind. I like to take a look at how they look now. Born on this day in the year 1959, Apollonia Kotera. You guys remember Apollonia Kotera? Oh boy. What is that? What is there, like a silverware called Kotera silverware or something? I don't know, whatever. Apollonia Kotera from Purple Rain. Remember she swam naked in Lake what is that lake up there? Titicaca or something, whatever. I don't know. She went swimming. She was in the leather from head to toe. You guys remember you remember the story of Purple Rain? She's just this like world-class smoking hot chick who just showed up in Minnesota, which is, I don't know where she came from, but whatever. She just shows up and she's dressed from head to toe in leather. And the only way to get in and out of this leather suit that she's wearing is by this zip up thing, you know, like it zips up. And she's got it unzipped like down to here, and her boobs are, my God. All I'm saying is that if you were 15 or 16 and you were a white boy from the suburbs and you got to look at what Apollonia Kotera was, oh my God, was that exotic beauty. And she looked like she was down too, if you know what I mean. She had that whole vibe about her as well, which was great. So let's take a look at Apollonia Kotera now. From Purple Rain. All right, let's see her. There she is. That's what she looks like now. She's still a wonderful looking woman. That's still a good looking woman. Say this though, that's what you want your girlfriend's mom to look like. Apollonia has now become your girlfriend's, the best case scenario for your girlfriend's mom. She's still pretty. Yeah, she's still holding together. Look at that still. Whoa, there you go. The big hair from the 80s. That's how she used to look. Show me in the leather. I want to see the leather outfit. You know, this is so weird. Is anybody else having this real-time kind of realization? Okay, that's good. That brings me back. The real-time realization that I'm having is that maybe she wasn't as hot as I thought. I mean, that's pretty hot. She looks good there. I don't know. Anyway, happy birthday, Apollonia Kotera. Apparently, you're still looking good. And we'll continue. Born on this day in 1964. Here's another one. Lake Minnetonka. Thank you, Byron. It's Minnetonka. Born on this day. This is me. I'm crazy. You know, I'm crazy. I just like, born on this day in 1964. Here's a woman and an actress that, without even thinking twice about it, I would choose 10 out of 10 times over Apollonia Kotera. And when I say this, I mean Apollonia Kotera from the Prince movie. I love that era Apollonia Kotera, who was really hot. We just talked about how hot she was. I would choose this next actress over her. And I'll explain why. Born on this day in 1964, Mary Louise Parker. Nancy Botwin from Weeds. Are you kidding me? That was unfair. Do you remember? Did you guys watch Weeds? Have you seen Weeds? You can still see it. I guess the only show, it was a Showtime show, but Showtime is now owned by Paramount Plus, so it's probably available on Paramount Plus. It might be available. Weeds is an absolutely brilliant show. I think it's one of the funniest and most interesting 30-minute television comedies of the past 25 years. It certainly makes a top 5 list with, the Curb Your Enthusiasms or Silicon Valleys, the Veep, these really funny. It's up there. It's great. It's amazing. Nancy Botwin, man, was like so hot to me. I just thought she was so hot. And it's not just about like, her physical. She's a beautiful woman, but Mary Louise Parker is not a Hollywood 10. Mary Louise Parker is not a hot woman in Hollywood. She's a pretty woman in Hollywood. She's a pretty woman, and if you need someone to play a very serious and accomplished female character, someone you don't fuck with, who you would also not mind getting drunk with and having sex with, that's kind of who Mary Louise Parker is, right? But she ain't Sydney Sweeney. She ain't Angelina Jolie. She ain't never been Jen Aniston. But I like her. I like her because of that Nancy Botwin character. That was a take charge, no bullshit, cool ass chick. Nancy Botwin from Weeds is celebrating a birthday today. And by the way, Mary Louise Parker. By the way, it doesn't hurt. It does not hurt that she's adorable. Okay, thank you. She's adorable. She may not be Angelina Jolie. She may not be Sandra Bullock even, but she's adorable. Happy birthday, Mary Louise Parker. Born on this day in 1964. Born on this day in 1970. Here's a dude who catches a lot of strays, and I'm not entirely sure why, because I think I like him. I mean, I don't know. I guess I ain't seen all of his shit, but the stuff that I've seen I like. But why does Kevin Smith take so much shit? Film director Kevin Smith. I mean, I think Clerks is terrific. I think Mallrats is really good. I know that's like really cool to be like, Mallrats ain't as good as Clerks. Well, I didn't know we were comparing them one for one. I thought we were just watching movies here and saying, do we like them or not? I like Mallrats. I thought it was fun. I love Dogma, right? That was, I mean, growing up Catholic, that movie really satirized the Catholic Church and the Catholic mindset in a way that I've never seen done before. It still haven't. It's brilliant. It's up there with films like Religulous. Remember Bill Maher's documentary? It is up there with films like that I think every Christian should watch. And adjust accordingly is just... So why does Kevin Smith take so much shit from people? I have no idea. Is he a mouth? Like, is it because every time I see him in an interview, I think that guy seems kind of cool. He just seems like a regular dude. I don't know. Happy birthday, Kevin Smith. Born on this day in 1970. Born on this day in 1984. The least popular vice presidential ticket pick of all time. And it's not even close. J.D. Vance having a birthday. He's 40 years old. Y'all fucked up. He's a millennial. What? Really? You want a fucking 40-year-old a heartbeat away from a president, and you want that president that's heart we're all relying on to be like 90? God damn, man. Happy birthday, J.D. Vance. How's your week going? Born on this day in 1992. Here's a person I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce her name, but I think she's famous now. She's famous before, but I think she's particularly hot and trendy right now this week. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1992 to, all right, I'll give it a go. Charlie XCX. Charlie Roman numeral. With a C. I got to the C. And I'm like, wait, is the C a Roman numeral? What is the C in my Roman numerals? Whatever. Is she the one that has that brat? Is that her? It's like Brat Summer. It's something like that. I don't pay attention to this shit except when they talk about it on mainstream news, and then I absorb it very peripherally. Is it Charlie XCX who has, I guess, a song or a slogan for the summer? I don't know how these things work anymore. You can just make a slogan and make money off that. What is Charlie XCX? Is she a songwriter or a musician? No, she just says cool statements on social media. Okay. I don't know what any of that's about. Anyway, Brat Summer. That's happening. I think it's a Kamala Harris thing. Is that what it is? All right. Don't want to get too political. You know what I mean? But Charlie XCX, she's got a birthday happening. I could be totally wrong about all that stuff because I don't have a little girl. If I had a little girl, I'd probably be more informed. Instead, I got a meathead little 15-year-old boy. I got to be honest, he talks about shit too that I have no idea what he's talking about. Like I'll be talking to him and he'll respond in a language using words and terminology and phrases that I just... I still don't know what bussin' and cappin' is. I don't know what that is. He seems to use it. He seems to use it in like a million different ways, and they pertain to... Is it like dude? Is that it? Because remember, we could use dude in like any number of ways. I think this is a great Brian Regan bit, right? Where like, our generation, we can use dude to express any number of emotions. I don't know. I don't know how I don't know what bussin' is. I don't know why bussin', capping. I don't know what capping. Just caps. What? I think it's good. But then also I feel like I've been told to quit capping. But I think he's eaten something that was capping and he seemed to enjoy it. I don't know. Can anybody help me? Okay. So Jeff Ballard says Cap is lying. I think it means other things too. I don't know, man. I don't know, Jeff. I'm so confused. All right, there you go. That's going to do it for the birthdays. Let's talk about people who've died. Let's talk about people who've died. These are the folks who have passed on this day. Let's decide if they go to heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 1876, Wild Bill Hickok. Oh, okay. So here's what I know about Wild Bill Hickok. I yesterday told you about the great HBO show, Deadwood. That's it. That's all I know about Wild Bill Hickok. He was played by, I think, David Carradine. Is David Carradine the guy that died jerking off? Is that him? There's a lot of Carradines. I want to make sure I get the right one. But anyway, he was cool. Wait, was he the Kung Fu guy? Or did the Kung Fu? No, Bill from Kill Bill, right? He's the one that died wanking it. The guy that played Wild Bill Hickok in Deadwood, he's a different one. All right, let's just go with Keith Carradine. No? Which one's in Revenge of the Nerds? Which one is the main nerd? One of the Carradine brothers is one of the main nerds. Is that Edsel Carradine? Anyway, Wild Bill Hickok, he's probably going to hell. I mean, how could you have existed in the Wild West and not do shit that by today's standard would have you in hell? I don't know. I don't know how that's possible. Dead on this day in 1979, Thurman Munson. Putting him in heaven. I tell this story, I think, every year, because he's one of those guys that I'll stop on and go, oh, man. Thurman Munson was the captain of the New York Yankees. He was a catcher. He was a terrific catcher back in the 70s. One of the best. Johnny Bench and Thurman Munson. I mean, they were in National League, American League. Those were the two. Thurman Munson was also an amateur airplane enthusiast, and I think you can guess what happened there on one particular off week or weekend or whatever. Over All-Star break or something. I don't know. I think that's what it was. I think he was flying himself to the All-Star, planning to fly himself to the All-Star game, and he was in Ohio, and he took his plane up, and the plane crashed, and Thurman Munson, one of the best players in baseball in the prime of his career, was no more. I remember this because it happened on a day when I was working with my grandfather. He was a milkman, and we were standing in the living room of somebody's house that he was just putting milk in. He would just walk into people's houses. I'm telling you, man, the 1970s had no rules. Every single day, he would just walk in, no knock, no nothing. The door was open. He'd walk in. He'd open their refrigerator. He'd look around to see what they need. And then he'd just there was no, we don't need milk this week or today. There was none of that. It was just his decision. Like, what if you needed, you needed. And I remember we're sitting in this living room, or I'm in the living room, and I hear this voice from upstairs go, because my grandpa was a Yankee fan. And the voice is like, hey, Joe. He was my grandpa's name. Did you hear what happened to the Yankee catcher? And I remember my grandpa going, Munson? Like that. And she's like, he's dead. And I was like 9 years old or whatever. I'm like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, 1979. I was 10 years old. I was like 10 years old going, wait, baseball players can die? I'll never forget that. Thurman Munson, I'm putting him in heaven because that was a moment I'll never forget. Dead on this day in 1986, preemptively putting him in hell because nobody deserves to go to hell quite to the degree that this man does. Well, that's a bit overstating it. Now who's being a drama queen? Me. That's me. This was a drama queen. This was the world's biggest drama queen. Now I know. Now pearl clutching snowflakes who make mountains out of molehills just for their own personal aggrandizement. That's a normal thing. Hell, there's 15 people doing that right now on your Twitter feed. But back in the day, there was really only one, and he died on this day in 1986. He is the human gerbil of a man named Roy Cohn. Roy motherfucking Cohn. If you don't know who this man is, he made his name. He first burst onto the American public consciousness when he trumped up a whole bunch of, no pun intended, trumped up a whole bunch of charges and then railroaded the Rosenbergs to death in a Manhattan courtroom for being spies. Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, by today's standards of investigation, they're innocent. They didn't do it, okay? But Roy Cohn, a young, terribly unprincipled and devious attorney in New York, decided he was going to trump up charges because then he could be known in the newspapers as the young hotshot attorney who's checking on, taking out all of the communists, the evil spies. It's a terrible, terrible moment in American history. You can read up about Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. Most people who now look at that are like, wow, this was not punishable by death, but Roy Cohn got that. After that, Roy Cohn decided he was going to start working as the personal sort of legal attaché to Senator Joe McCarthy. That's right, Joe McCarthy, he of the blacklist and the everyone's a communist in this whole system. You're all communist. He invented, Joe McCarthy, or at least you should say popularized, the notion that we still have today, which is that anyone that we disagree with politically is a communist, regardless of our current understanding of what communism is. You're a communist if you disagree with me. We still do that today. That was started by Joe McCarthy. Where did Joe McCarthy get that from? Roy motherfucking Cohn. Here's a little fun fact about McCarthy, just so you know some of the people that he was famous for representing in his career. After railroading the Rosenbergs and then starting the whole blacklist and McCarthy hearings bullshit. And by the way, you do know that Joe McCarthy died of a brain tumor. He had a fucking brain tumor when all of this was going on. He was nuts. And there was Roy Cohn going, I'm the puppet behind the scenes. After resigning from McCarthy's staff, Roy Cohn had a 30-year career as an attorney in New York City. His clients included Donald Trump, New York Yankees baseball owner George Steinbrenner, Aristotle Onassis, as well as every major mafia figure in America, including Tony Salerno, Carmine Galante, John Gotti, Mario Gigante, as well as Studio 54 owner Steve Rubel, who was a coke dealer running cocaine out of Studio 54. That's who Roy Cohn was. Historic American piece of shit. He's in hell. Is that it? No. Oh, God. How do I make this transition? How do I make this transition from Roy Cohn, epic American piece of shit? How do I make the transition from Roy Cohn into Vin Scully? The great Vin Scully died on this day in 2022. Vin Scully was the voice of baseball, really. I mean, he was at all of the national, before we had national coverage everywhere. In the 1970s or 80s, if you woke up and you wanted to watch like This Week in Baseball or some sort of national baseball update, there were two voices you heard. You heard Mel Allen and you heard Vin Scully. He was the Dodgers guy, but he was quite an icon in baseball. Vin Scully, we're putting him in heaven. My grandpa used to say, Vin Scully is the greatest baseball play-by-play man ever. And I honestly don't know how he knew this because he never lived in Los Angeles. My grandpa did not have any, to my knowledge, extensive experience listening to Vin Scully call baseball games, but he still was of the opinion that Vin Scully was the best. So because of that, he's going to heaven. All right, that's going to do it, folks. Once again, I'll remind you that we are in the throes of another pledge week. I would like to thank Mike, D, and Jenna for helping out the show yesterday. They were awesome. Appreciate that. We still need to raise some money to keep this show on the air. If you are so inclined, please feel yourself free to move on over to the Venmo, move on over to the Cash App, make a little drop, help this show continue going. All right, let's talk now about all the things that are happening in the world. Big news. Hold on. Let me do something. Let me just check really quick something. You know how I like to do this. Because it is a big breaking news day. Oh, my God. Okay, that's better than it was. That is better. Wait, what is it right now? Hold on. Okay. All right. That's where we are. All right. I'll explain what I'm talking about here. The big story right now is the Dow. It's the stock market. The stock market is absolutely imploding. I think, did it go over 1,000? Did it go over under like negative 1,000? I think it was dancing there for a little bit of time. It's currently the Dow Jones is at, let's see, minus 897.51. We don't need that. 897.51. Hold on. Is this real time? Is this thing, because the numbers are moving? At 897.36. Oh, now it's 900. Now it's minus 900. Now it's back to 898. My point is this. You wouldn't call this a volatile market because it's just steadily going down, 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 down. Bad day in the stock market. This is all tied to the release. It's tied to the release of the July numbers. We get this all the time. The first couple of days of the new month, we get told what unemployment is at. We get told, how we're doing money-wise here in this country. And it was down. It did not meet expectations. This is the first time in like 6 months. Right? What do I tell you, right? I tell you this every month. Don't believe these numbers. When these numbers are telling you that things are great, whatever. When they tell you things are bad, whatever. Do not believe these numbers. Believe the price at the pump. Believe your grocery bill. Believe that kind of stuff. This does not affect us. These things, these kinds of July jobs, these kinds of reports and stuff, they only affect the super wealthy, the billionaire class that you hear me talk about a lot. Now, what's happening is that they're all spooked because about things that are happening at the Fed. We don't need to get into all of that, but I did watch a little CNBC this morning, and I don't want to bore you with all the stuff that I barely understand, but there are issues at the Fed combined with these new July numbers. It's got Wall Street going absolutely nuts. As I said, down almost 1,000 points at one point this morning. Now it seems to be hovering somewhere around minus 894. Oh, geez, that's worse than it was before. Hold on, let me redo that. No, never mind. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're talking about a vacillation of just a couple of numbers, but it's bad. It's going bad right now. So who is taking it on the chin, right? Is that what you wonder about? Because you look at me and you listen to this show and you know that I do not cry tier 1 for the billionaire class. I don't. I hate them. I don't carry their water. I don't, other people do. Other people unknowingly. And I afford my friends who oftentimes carry water for the billionaire class. I afford them the luxury, or I afford them my compassion that they're not looking at it the way I am. That's the difference. It's not that I'm right, he's wrong, I'm right. It doesn't mean that. It just means we're looking at it differently. So there's hope for you yet, you people out there who just inadvertently carry water for the billionaire class. So what's happening on Wall Street right now? I'll tell you what's happening on Wall Street right now. The richest guy that you know is having a really bad day. The richest guy that you know is having a really bad day. You know the guy in your town that, his family owns the golf course and they've got streets named after him. You know that? Those people, that classification of rich person, maybe on their best day with the market, they're worth about $20 million. Right? Them, the $20 million class of American rich people. Those fucking people are taking it on the chin right now. You know who else is taking it on the chin right now? Your mom, your 80-year-old mom who, dad died about 10 years ago, but dad did pretty well and he set mom up good and mom's got a nice little nest egg there. In fact, some people from a working class background would look at mom and go, mom's rich. Mom's got money. Mom flies first class if she wants to. Mom wears pearls and got a fur coat. Mom is taking it on the fucking chin right now. That classification of American rich. And I just have to remind you that those people are fucking laughed at by the real rich in this country. Do you happen to know the difference between a rich guy who's got $10 million and, his family owns 5 car dealerships. He's worth about $10 million. His house is $3 million. Those people are laughed at by dudes. The difference between that guy and, say, Mark Cuban, who is at what, 3-4 billion net worth, something like that, is astronomical. And here's something else for you. The difference between Mark Cuban and, say, Elon Musk is also astronomical. The people who are getting fucked up today are like the entry-level rich. It's like the people that we, the working class, see as rich because they're the ones we see every day. You know who we don't see every day? We don't see the Sacklers. we don't see, the Zuckerbergs. We don't see these people every day, but we do see, the manageable rich, the people they dangle in front of us who are allowed to achieve a certain level of social class so that the rest of us goes, one day I want to be at the same country club as them. The attainable rich, they're getting their fucking ass kicked right now. And that's because the people at the very top of the stock market, the people I mentioned before, your Sackler type families, people with, 50 billion and up, they've been out of the stock market for years. They don't get hurt. When the economy collapses in this country, the super rich, who you people carry water for, I can't say that more than I can. The super rich haven't been affected by anything that has happened en masse to the stock market since the Great Crash, since before the depression. Well, I guess that was before the depression. It caused the depression. That was the last time that the super rich took it on the chin in this volatile concept that we call a stock market. They have been indemnified since. They have fixed ways. Do you think any of the super rich took any kind of a hit during the mortgage crisis? Remember that 15 years ago? Oh, it was the worst time in the stock market. Those super rich didn't get hurt by that. They're indemnified. They figured it out. They know it's a game and they control the rules. So today is a very big day. And I do get upset when you see the stock market affected to this extent because it's not affecting the right people. It is affecting your mom. It is affecting retirees. It is affecting regular Main Street Americans who maybe are successful and own a couple of business and have some money that they like to play around in the stock market. These are the people getting fucked, not the Elon Musks, not the Mark Cubans, not the billionaire class. And that's the class that I rail against. So keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully the stock market will rebound. But you know what? If it doesn't, the people who actually make all the decisions don't give a fuck. They'll invent the next thing. Did you hear this? I'll give you an example of the way these people think. Donald Trump said that he could fix the economy in like an instant by paying off all of our global debts by using cryptocurrency. This is his idea. And this is what he's floating. I could just fix. The only reason that our economy is so bad is because we've got this burden of global debt that we pay out to other countries. And I could fix that simply by just paying it back in cryptocurrency. That's what he said. People applauded. Yeah, cryptocurrency's magic. Not thinking it through, of course. This is what I was watching this morning on CNBC. That would for cryptocurrency to be accepted on the global market because the United States of America is now using it to pay its debt, the residual effect of that would be the absolute destruction of the American first and the global economy second. You want to see homeless, hungry people on your streets? Just make a right turn and go, the dollar doesn't count anymore. It's now crypto, and it's Donald Trump crypto. See, that's the kind of fucking shit this class of people, that's what they're thinking of. This class of people, they're not Americans. They don't have any fucking care about we are Americans. You know why? You want to know why we are different than them? Because we, first among all other things that we claim, is that we have this inherent right as Americans. It means something to us because we don't have a lot more. Billionaire, where are we going to go? So we go to war and another country invades. We got to fight. You know why? Because we don't have a private jet that'll take us to our island. We have an investment in the ground we stand on. That's what makes us Americans. We love this country because it's all we got. The billionaire class has any number of choices. So stop acting like, Elon Musk is a great American. The dude's a fucking South African. He doesn't give a shit if America burns. He doesn't care. He's not like us. He wasn't educated reciting the pledge. He's just here because that's where the money is and the hot chicks or whatever else it is. And you just got to start remembering that this billionaire class, man, they're not Americans. They do not have our best interests at heart. There is a rich and wealthy class in this country, and they're the ones who are getting fucked up today. All right. Let's see here. Is Barney relentlessly carries water for the billionaire class unknowingly? I mean, he still sees the billionaire class as patriots, I think. Is that what you're doing, Barney? Are you pushing back on what I just said? Unless you are a communist, then everyone is a Nazi. Oh no, I'm sorry, but I think Barney was just I kind of agree with that there's that absolutism where everybody one thing or the other. All right, let's go. VP race. Happy birthday to Donald Trump's vice president. At least his ticket mate. For now, we'll say about old J.D. Vance. Gambling site. What is this? What is this gambling site? Hold on. Let me see what the story is. Because was this about... Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So we're expecting this weekend for Kamala Harris. Want to make sure I pronounce that right, because apparently a whole bunch of people get all upset if you accidentally mispronounce a name that a whole bunch of us aren't all that familiar with. Although, Trump does it on purpose. Like at this point, Trump's calling her Kamala, on purpose. Although I kind of like that pronunciation. And isn't it really the same as Caribbean? Who cares? Two ways to pronounce the same damn thing. I want to show you this. Check this out. The VP race is down to, I don't know, man. They said that, all right, so here are the finalists. And I might have somebody wrong here, but because they're dropping in and out. So the finalists are, we got Andy Beshear of Kentucky, which I told you he's not a good bottom of the ticket guy. You don't want him as the bottom. If you were going to clean the slate and you were going to run an unknown at the top of the ticket, he would have been my guy. So Beshear is there. You got Buttigieg. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg. It's a fun name to say, Buttigieg. I like that dude. Oh, I know I'm not supposed to. I know that he sucks, but no, he's not. He's sharp. He's sharp and he's calm and he's very afraid. If he wasn't openly gay, he'd be president already. I'm telling you, man. That dude, if he wasn't openly gay, he'd be president already. Buttigieg is sharp. Don't think it works for this ticket, though. I don't love it on this ticket. Who's the other guy? Oh, they're floating J.B. Pritzker now. He's the governor of Illinois, a billionaire governor of Illinois. His family owns the Hyatt Regency resort chain and a whole bunch of other things. His brothers and sisters basically have Hollywood under their thumb. So would that be the reason that J.B. Pritzker is added to it out of Illinois? He's not going to deliver Illinois for Kamala. Illinois is already blue. Can't stop that Chicago vote. Sorry, downstate hillbillies. You guys will never have a say in this state. When the state has 20 million people and 17 million of them live in the north, in the Chicago area or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know what he brings other than, again, Hollywood, right? So his brothers and his sisters, they're huge Hollywood movie producers. Every movie that you see, you'll see some executive produced by D.D. Pritzker or what. It's always Pritzker. So maybe, but doesn't Kamala already have Hollywood and she doesn't need Illinois? So, and we don't want a billionaire in this thing. I just keep the billionaires out. He's gone. All right. So J.B. Pritzker, he's another one. So we got Buttigieg, Beshear, Waltz. Tim Waltz is a popular guy now. They're saying Tim Waltz, the governor of Minnesota, he's popular. Of course, don't forget that Cooper, governor of North Carolina, he dropped out. And of course, Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan, she dropped out. She didn't want it. Basically, that means they were told that they weren't going to get it. So if you want to just say first that you don't want it to save face, that'd be good. So that's what they were allowed to do. And then you got Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro is the guy who I think that if they don't pick Josh Shapiro, they were really making a strategic error. Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is an important state that they're going to want to win. I believe the poll I saw yesterday had Trump leading in Pennsylvania by 3 points, 3 or 4 points, something like that. Want to get it right. Don't want to anger anybody. But it was 3 or 4 points that he was leading yesterday in one poll. What poll was that? I should name check the poll properly. Not sure. Anyway, realclearpolitics.com. You can go check it out for yourself. So it looks like Trump has a lead in Pennsylvania. That will evaporate instantly when Josh Shapiro is named to the ticket. He's very popular. And I think, let me show you something. Have you seen the viral thing that's going around? I think because this clip has gone viral, I think that means that you can place your bets that Josh Shapiro, despite the fact that he's Jewish, and it's only the people on the right though that are making the people who are already voting for Trump and who are hate Kamala. They're the ones who are going, she's gonna lose the crazy pro-terrorist vote if she puts a Jew on her ticket. Like they're worried about those people. Like those people are like somehow the core of Kamala's. They're not. Those people are the weirdos. Those people are the libtard version of those right-wing Nazis who marched in Charlottesville talking about how the Jews, are they the core of MAGA? Are they? Because if they are, then okay, I'll concede that the crazy, stop it. Remember, it's about the 70% of us trying to elect somebody here. Fucking forget about the 15% crazy on the right and the 50% crazy on the left. Focus on the other 70% of us. Anyway, Josh Shapiro He's going to bring her Pennsylvania, and that's a really important state. Josh Shapiro made a speech. It's being called the Freedom Speech. Hold on. Where is this? There we go. It's being called the Freedom Speech. And, man, it's pretty good. You don't know who Josh Shapiro is. Most of America. But this is why the people of Pennsylvania, they seem to like him a whole lot. Here you go. This is the style. This is not Democratic style from the past. This is almost like MAGA meets Democrats.
So I got a message to Donald Trump. Stop shit talking, America. This is the greatest country on the face of the earth. Let's start acting like it. I know that's true. You know that's true. He doesn't know that's true. He keeps talking us down, and he keeps trying to rip away our fundamental freedoms. I mean, I have to laugh. You ever see this guy? Like, when he's on stage, he, like, kind of meanders over, you know, can't really walk well, and he goes over to the flag, and he, like, hugs the flag. I mean, I love the flag, but it's a weird thing he does, right? But while he's hugging the flag, you know what he's doing? He's ripping away our freedoms. That's what he's all about.
All right, there you go. That is going viral. It is picking up steam. People are talking about it. I didn't know who Josh Shapiro was. I just knew him as a name. I like that dude. That dude brings it. I like the way he handles himself. He's got an ease and a comfort in a crowd. He doesn't sound like a robot who's just repeating talking points. He's being direct, but he also seems like a dude who, you know, could be at home on stage in a comedy club, you know, that kind of ease with the audience. That's good. The Democrats never have that. The Democrats have the worst. They're the worst. Kamala isn't good. Trump is good. This is why people respond to Trump. Trump's like, all right, it's open mic night, and he's comfortable, and people are entertained, and that message resonates because of it. Kamala Harris is too practiced. She's like Hillary was, and we're gonna fight for, oh, shut the fuck up, okay? Just talk like a normal person. Be somebody who is trying to connect with the audience and not just reciting these well-rehearsed scripted lines. So that's why I like Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro is going to bring a whole different kind of campaign energy. And again, I'm speaking as somebody who, in my pretend world, I'm playing fantasy campaign director. That's who they should pick. And again, I'll do my thing again on why I think that the Trump administration or the Trump campaign needs to drop J.D. Vance as quickly as possible and bring in Tulsi Gabbard. I think it's Tulsi. I think the winning thing is Nikki Haley. I think you bring in Nikki Haley, you get rid of Vance, and at this point you bring in Nikki Haley. I think Trump runs away with it, but he won't do that because of ego. He won't. He won't do it. His ego is going to be his undoing. So he got a little sycophant in J.D. Vance. And maybe Vivek. Maybe we'll get Ramaswamy in there now. How do you think he's going to fare in the 24 hours of the hot spotlight after he's announced? We're going to find shit out about him, too. No. It's Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley's the one that will get that 70% in the middle to at least go, all right, now I'm going to look at this side again. Because right now, I don't think there's a whole lot of that 70% who's sort of like in the middle, could go either way. I don't think there's a whole lot of that 70% that is currently leaning towards the J.D. Vance weirdo Donald Trump ticket. Tulsi Gabbard is my compromise. He's going to watch. Tulsi Gabbard could be good. I think, and she's got a great history. I was watching Tulsi Gabbard videos on YouTube. She's got a great history of attacking Kamala Harris. She knows what to say. Anyway, that won't happen though, because I don't know. To do that would be openly admitting during a campaign that you made a mistake, and God forbid, you know. I don't know. All right, so Josh Shapiro, I think he should be the guy. He should absolutely be the guy. But then the people who side with Hamas won't vote for the Democrats. Okay, good. You think they're voting for Trump? You think they're going to go, we don't like that they added a Jew. Let's go. They're going to go to Trump. You think Trump? So fine, they sit home. It's exactly what I said. When this argument was used for Michigan, she won't choose Shapiro because he's a Jew, and she needs to win Michigan because Michigan has the highest concentration of Arab Americans in the country. And they do. In that central Michigan industrial part of Lansing, Flint, if you're familiar with Michigan, it's in that area. But it's still not an overwhelming population. It's still not a population that could outvote Detroit. It's not. And by the way, choosing Shapiro will make sure that they don't vote for that ticket. Again, they ain't voting for the other ticket, so they're going to sit out. So that's fine. So let them sit out. It's not like Michigan isn't up for grabs. I mean, they've got a chick, female, progressive governor, and Whitmer seems to be popular. Aside from that time, a couple of years ago when a bunch of crazy MAGA dudes tried to kidnap her. Oh, they aren't MAGA. I know, forgive me. They're just Michigan militia dudes. They probably voted for Obama. Well, shut up. Remember that when they tried to kidnap her? There was like this crazy kidnapping plot, and then they all got let go. Yeah, they were innocent. They were all right. Yeah, you're innocent. Okay, I get it. What, Pugs? You don't trust the justice system? Fuck no. You think I trust any of these systems? I'm sitting here telling you everything's a construct. So here's the thing. Those dudes who got let go for trying to kidnap Whitmer, they got off on like technicality, on like legalese. Maybe they overstepped. The prosecution went a little bit far. That's anti-American. Yeah, it is. But, the system's fucked. My point is this. There were obvious dirtbags. There was enough evidence to suggest that they probably did some other shit and got away with it. Pugs, I could never vote for you for president. Good. I'd be a terrible fucking president. I couldn't do that job. That's part of the problem with our political process in this country. Like the average guy, I used to ask this on the radio all the time. Like, you think you could be probably somebody who'd call in and criticize the president? I'd be like, you think you could do that job? And this dude would be like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what do you currently do? Well, I'm laid off from the phone company. And you think you could be the Globe's chief executive? You're just... No, it's a fucking hard job, man. And I'm not just talking about, all of the meetings and all of the read. You got to read. Well, I guess they say Trump didn't. But if you want to be like effective and really kind of know what's going on, it's a lot of work. And you're being woke. You don't get a good night's sleep for 4 years, and you're fucking having breakfast. You're having like multiple breakfasts. You got to be up at 5:45 for the annual prayer breakfast, and then at 6:30 you've got to have another breakfast for the Gridiron Gang, and then at 7:30 you're meeting again for more breakfast. You're like doing 3 breakfasts every fucking day as president. I don't know. I couldn't do the job. I'm not smart enough. That's also me admitting I'm not smart enough to be president. Like, remember in the 90s when people were running, the gotcha question would always be, name the leader of Uzbekistan. And the person running for president would be like, I don't fucking know who the leader of Uzbekistan is. And then the bullshit media at the time would be like, how can you be president of the United States without being able to, off the top of your head, recite the name of the leader of Uzbekistan, America's 38th greatest ally? That's stupid. I couldn't do that, but some of these dudes do. Some of these dudes do know all that shit. I could name 2 of them, but you'd be like, you're lying. And I'd be like, no, actually, Clinton and Obama are both well known for knowing all the names. You know why? Because they weren't rich kids. They weren't named Bush. They didn't get pushed through by daddy's legacy. They were fucking poor trash kids who had to actually get good grades and pay attention in class. So when it came time to them being the chief executive, you may not like their policies or anything, but I promise you, they were reading the shit. And I'll grant you, probably making the wrong decision after reading it, but they were reading. They were fucking kids who knew that you had to get good grades and work hard and all of that shit. And they brought that mentality as poor kids on the climb. Now I'm going to hear Barney going, Obama was actually raised a billionaire's son, but nobody knows it. Okay. Save your Alex Jones shit. He didn't come from money. Michelle Obama's family were from Kenwood on the south side. It's a very, very nice area of Chicago, but it is by no means wealthy. They're very wealthy. No, they're not. No, they're not. They lived in a nice neighborhood in Chicago that was 100% black. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about Chicago. Chicago's got Chicago, you think, what, all black people don't live in the ghetto? Fuck no. Some of the nicest neighborhoods in Chicago are all black. Barack Obama lived there with Michelle after he became a senator. It's right there on the campus of the university. What do they call it? The Bronze Coast. Good restaurants, good food, really safe. All black. But good. Kenwood. I love that area of Chicago. I love that. What's my point? My point is this, that my thing has closed out. All right, let's move on. So anyway, this weekend, we expect to get a vice presidential name from Kamala Harris. Did I say it right? Kamala Harris. Don't want you people getting mad at me. All right, what else do we have here? Let's see. What's happening in the world? Well, I feel like I really lost my way there. Prisoner exchange. That's right. So I still don't know the details of this. I described it yesterday as like a very weird and desperate Major League Baseball trade, where it's like there's 7 teams involved and 50 players to be named later. One team, they're just giving money for some reason. They're not even getting anything. So that's what happened yesterday between the United States, Turkey, Germany, Russia, Ukraine, all of these countries got together and did this crazy 7-team prisoner exchange. Bottom line, here in America, that's all we care about. We got back Evan Gershkovich. He is the Wall Street Journal reporter. He'd been imprisoned there on espionage charges for 13 months. And then, of course, we had Paul Whelan. He was also being imprisoned for spying for the United States. He'd been there 5 years. We got him back. And now we learn this is, didn't you think, I don't know, maybe I'm just dumb, but didn't you think yesterday when this news was breaking and it was revealed that we're getting Gershkovich and we're getting Whelan back, didn't you think, all right, all done, we're good? I thought, okay, that's all of them. Because I knew there was Brittany Griner. And then when everybody was fighting to get Brittany Griner back, people were like, but what about Paul Whelan and Evan Gershkovich? And I'm like, yeah, what about them? I was like that too. Let's get them all back. Why are we just focusing on this 7-foot-tall basketball girl? But we were, and we got her back. And that's good. It's better than not getting her back. But we left Gershkovich and we left Whelan back there. So now we got them. And I'm like, yay! So that's it, right? No. No. There's still dudes. We still got dudes. We got some dude that's been there years. And he's like, how come nobody talks about me on CNN? How come I never get mentioned on Fox News? I've been sitting here. So we got more people over there. Had no idea. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, yeah, that's right. This weekend, another big thing could happen. What's that? Well, the world could end. Yeah, or at least the very slow beginnings of the end of the world. It is expected for there to be some kind of incident there in Israel concerning Iran and Israel. Of course, we know that Iran and their supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khomeini, not to be confused with the Ayatollah Khomeini, who is my Ayatollah. I grew up, the Ayatollah of my youth, if you will. The new one, totally different guy. His name is Ayatollah Khomeini. So he's a supreme leader, and he was like, all right, I order war against Israel. He ordered a military retaliation. He demanded it. Now, he's not the president of Iran. Hell, the president of Iran just got put in the ground. President of Iran just died. Anyway, point is this. It's a big deal for him as the religious, a.k.a. supreme leader of the entire country to say, nope, fuck it. I'm not even going to meet with the generals. We're going to war. So that's where we're at. We're within a tit's hair of having the entire Middle East go up in flames this weekend. It'll be the first time in the history of all of the, at least modern history, let's say post formation of Israel, so post 1947, this will be the first time that Iran has actually, I mean, Iran has gone after its Muslim neighbors. Well, Iran, when, Iran was involved in a decades-long war with Iraq and all that stuff, but not Israel. Israel has always been indemnified and protected to some degree or another by many of the world's most powerful armies, chief among them the United States. Never been attacked before. And that could change this weekend. So we'll see where we go from there. All I know is that, and again, everything's just a construct, so this could be a construct. But all I know is that my entire life, it has been known, let it be known, that an attack on Israel will be seen as an attack on the United States of America, and there will be instantaneous and merciless response. That's been the idea. That's been my understanding. And it's been everybody else's as well. So that's going to be tested this weekend. I'm telling you, Iran is going to fire missiles into civilian populations in Israel this weekend. And then we'll see what happens from there. Anyway, the clock ticks. ... Medal count. Let's do a medal count because the Olympics are going on. I didn't get to watch any Olympics last night because, as I told you, I was having a serial killer evening where I dedicated a good 3 hours of my life to watching backstage creeper video from Lollapalooza posted on Hulu and rain-delayed preseason football. So that's who I am. Nice to meet you, ladies. Medal count. Let's take a look at the new medal count. We're looking at the medal count for the Olympics. We've been keeping an eye on this because we're Americans and we want to win. Look at what we got here, folks. Look at what we got here. When we started this medal count watch 3 days ago, America was in 9th place in the gold medal count. We had more medals than anybody else, but also we have, I think, the biggest team. I'm pretty sure America has multiple competitors in absolutely every single sport, right? Is there a sport in the Olympics that America doesn't have a 3-deep bench? Probably shooting. Did you see any of that? Jeff Ballard had a great line yesterday. How can we be so bad at shooting? How can America be so undisciplined at shooting? We suck at it. We're not good. We're not, it's not even like we don't win the gold. We don't win anything. We're like, anyway, apparently we suck at shooting. China is still in the lead with the gold medal count of 13. Good for them. 13 gold medals. They have 27 medals overall. United States of America is now in second place, baby. Second place when it comes to gold medals. We've got 9, and track and field has only just begun. We will win the gold medal count by 5. There you go. By minimum of 5. We will have 5 more than second place. That is my prediction. America is in second place. We've got 9 gold medals to China's 13. Again, China has 13 gold medals and 27 overall medals. The United States has only 9 gold medals, but 41 overall medals. We're dusting everybody. There's nobody else. You know who's got the next most medals? France. They got 31. We got 10 more. Don't let anybody tell you we're getting our ass kicked at the Olympics because we're winning more hardware than anybody else, and it ain't even close, and we're about to overtake China for the gold medal count. Trust me. All right, there you go. Who else is doing good? We got any surprises? Top 10. Here's the top 10. Canada's at 10. The Netherlands are at 9. Italy is at 8. South Korea is at 7. Japan is at 6. Australia is at 5. Great Britain's at 4. France is at 3. The United States is at 2 currently, and China's at 1. Currently, we'll see how that changes. All right, that's going to do it for the medal count. Let's see, what else do we have here? We already talked about that. Don Lemon, Sugar Don Lemon. Remember him from CNN? God, I hate that guy. Anyway, Don Lemon is suing Elon Musk. Why? Do you remember when Elon Musk said that, I guess he entered into like a $50 million exclusive Twitter show with Don Lemon? Like Don Lemon was going to do a big Twitter show the way Tucker Carlson is doing a big Twitter show, I guess. They tell me it's big in Twitter circles. I'm on Twitter. I don't see it, but okay, it's big. So Don Lemon was going to do the same thing. And Don Lemon's very first guest on the new Twitter Don Lemon show was Elon Musk. Remember Don Lemon sat down and talked to Elon Musk for episode 1, and after episode 1, Elon Musk got on his phone and said, cancel that show? So long ago, that feels like a lifetime ago. That was probably only about 3 months ago. But anyway, Don Lemon is now suing Elon Musk for reneging on a contractual arrangement. He doesn't care. He doesn't fucking care. Don's going to get his money. The judge is going to go, they're going to do this case, and the judge is going to go, yeah, he did. He totally reneged. He signed you here, and then he changed his mind, and he said, too bad. That's what the judge is going to say. And then the judge is going to look at Elon Musk. The judge is going to say, you owe him, I don't know, let's say $50 million, because that's probably the fucking life that Don Lemon gets. Don Lemon now gets an easy $50 million, right? For this. But Elon Musk is going to go, how much, Your Honor? And he's going to go, $50 million, Mr. Musk. And Elon Musk is going to go, you know what? I don't have that on me. Cool, though. I'll get it to you. And it's not even going to break a sweat with Elon Musk. Elon Musk loses $50 million a day before he has his coffee. And he also makes like 100. It's crazy. So, you know, these billionaires live. Anyway, Lemon versus Musk. That's going on right now. I mean, it seems cut and dry. For someone who has had media contracts, you sign a contract, you do a show, and if they just change their mind, they got to pay you back on it. They got to pay out the contract. And that's what's going to happen. And my point is this. Elon don't care. Elon is the richest man on the planet. He don't care. He's just going to pay it. But he's going to make sure that, Don Lemon has to squirm a little bit for it. What else do we have here? Justin Timberlake. Is this over? I don't know if this is over. This story might be updated. Let me see. Justin Timberlake was to be arraigned in court today on DUI charges. Remember we talked about JT? He got himself a DUI in between concert dates. How long ago was that now? Is that like a month ago now? Time flies. Time really flies. Sag Harbor, New York, singer Justin Timberlake appeared virtually. Hold on. Singer Justin Timberlake appeared virtually in court from his world tour in Europe on Friday, where he pled not guilty at his second arraignment for DUI. It's his second one, huh? All right. Timberlake, 43, looked somber and serious as he entered his plea. He was wearing a black button-down shirt and appeared virtually to court. The singer was rearranged after his attorney, Edward Burke, noticed a superior officer did not sign the paperwork. Shit, whatever. Anyway, he's arraigned. So we'll cover that as we go. Speaking of Justin Timberlake, how about this? Britney Spears has signed a deal for her biopic. Yeah, Freddie Mercury got one. Elvis got one. Why wouldn't Britney Spears get one? Now, here's the thing. You're thinking, well, doesn't it really depend on the scale of the film and the director and the screenwriter? Like, for instance, there's a lot of really bad biopic about pop culture icons and musicians. I'll give you, did you see the Elton John one? Did you see Rocket Man? Did you see that? That was awful. That was awful. That was really bad, and it was done poorly, and they were just trying to cash in on Elton John's name. Now, did you see the Freddie Mercury one? Right? The Queen one? That was a good movie. That movie was done really well. So there's sort of a sliding scale. Like when you hear Britney's having a biopic made about her, I'm like, what is it going to be on Lifetime? It's going to be on Lifetime. Is it going to star Sabrina the Teenage Witch? I don't know what to expect there. Now I do. This is going to be a big film. This is going to be a real film. Crazy. Talking about Sydney Sweeney playing Britney Spears. I'll see that. She's going to have to tamp down those boobs, though, because trust me, I've noticed over the past 20 years, Britney Spears doesn't have the juggies that Sydney Sweeney does. They can fix that. Hollywood, whatever. Hey, if they can de-age Robert De Niro for the movie The Irishman, pretty sure they can take a couple of cup sizes off of Sydney Sweeney's breasts. I think they can. Here's the story. Universal Music Group has signed on to be the exclusive producer of this film, blah, 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 blah. The Ankler has learned, blah, 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 that Universal Pictures has landed the rights to Britney Spears' massive best-selling memoir, The Woman in Me. John M. Chu, whose Wicked is about to be released. Wicked, by the way, I think that's going to be a huge movie. Yeah, I'm seeing that all over the Olympics. I know like kids are like, yeah, women are like all into it. Wicked's the stage play, right? Isn't that the stage play of The Wizard of Oz? Or it's like some sort of like Wizard of Oz Part 2 done as like, a gay Broadway musical. Isn't that kind of what it is? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, that's what the guy who's doing the Britney Spears thing is currently working on. He's doing that. What is this from Britney Spears? Excited to share with my fans that I've been working on a super secret project with Mark Platt. He's always made my favorite movies. Stay tuned, said Britney Spears. A source puts the rights deal in the 8 figures, with rights to Spears' vast music catalog as part of the arrangement for filming. So it's going to have the music. That's a big deal. That is a big deal in the modern 2024 film economy. After Kevin Costner just like fucking blew up a studio with his, I think people are going to see Westerns again. Does it got to be 3.5 hours, Kev? Well, the first half does. What? So that's big money. This is going to be a movie. Sydney Sweeney. I'll go see that. Sydney Sweeney playing Britney. Crazy Britney. Who am I kidding? I'll see anything that Sydney Sweeney does. Tom Cruise is a douchebag, if you didn't know. Did you know? Did you know that Tom Cruise is a total D-bag? Tom Cruise is, because everything that Tom Cruise comes near has to be made 100% and wholly about him. Tom Cruise is going to take over the Olympics. Apparently, the big close for the Olympics is going to be that Tom Cruise is going to skydive into the closing ceremonies. Actual Tom Cruise going to skydive. Couldn't just be a skydiver having this moment. Couldn't just be a dude who does this professionally and this is how they're going to end the Olympics. Look at that. They're going to have a guy skydive. No, it's got to be Tom Cruise. And it can't even be one of those moments where, hey, look at the dude we don't know skydiving. And then he lands and he takes off a mask and you're all like, it's Tom Cruise. No, it's not going to be that either. Because Tom Cruise wants everybody to know well ahead of time that he's such a dude that he's going to do this. So now we're all talking about it. Tom Cruise sucks. Now, that is not to say that Joel from Risky Business sucks, because Joel does not suck. Certainly not to say that Maverick from the Top Gun film sucks, because Maverick certainly does not suck. Tom Cruise sucks. This Tom Cruise. The Ethan, what's his name? What's the dude from Mission Impossible? Mission Impossible Tom Cruise sucks. And he's going to make the closing ceremonies of the Olympics all about him. I'm Tom Cruise. What if he dies? I'm just putting it out there. It's not, folks. That was strange. Folks, I tell you this, I say this all the time. Tom Cruise, a movie star, is going to jump out of an airplane above the Olympics closing ceremonies. And he's gonna try and land, and Tom Cruise, a movie star, not a Ranger paratrooper with, 10,000 jumps under his, but no, Tom Cruise is going to jump out of an airplane. Why is this interesting? Why is it spectacular? Let me walk you through it. Here's why. Because he shouldn't be able to do that, right? Tom Cruise is just an actor. You shouldn't really be able to jump out of an airplane anyway. So every time you see somebody jump out of an airplane and the parachute works, you should be like, whew, good. Because people should not be able to do that, let alone Tom Cruise. So when we see Tom Cruise jumping out of the airplane, we would not be wrong if our expectation was this narcissistic movie star is going to fuck this up and this is not going to work, because when people jump out of airplanes, it's very dangerous and he's probably going to die. That should be our expectation. But it won't be, because we go into these things half blind, like, God, this is going to be great. He's going to do it. And it's never. This is the Siegfried and Roy scenario that I always tell you about. Those fucking people who went and saw Siegfried and Roy on the night that Roy got his head ripped off, those people who went back and tried to get their money back, why, that's not the show I signed up for. Give me my money back. That was awful. You're fucking nuts. That was the 1 in a million show. You don't get your money back. You aren't let out until you pay double, because you got what everybody else who went to see the two faggy Germans fight lions, you got to see exactly what was supposed to happen. The lion and the tiger are supposed to eat the mincing German animal tamers. That's why we see this. They're not supposed to be able to control the animals. When they do, we're surprised and we say, here, take my money. So when the lion ate the dude, you should have been like, yeah, well, that's what was supposed to happen. That's a good show. That is what I signed up for. So all I'm saying is that when Tom Cruise dies and it's just a puddle on the Champs-Élysées, I told you about it. I said that's what's supposed to happen. He's supposed to die. All right, now could you imagine if that actually happens? If that actually happens now, you fuckers better make this go viral. If that actually happens, I got to be the guy who produced. Yeah, right? Sorry. Do you like when I have one-sided conversations with the chat room? Barney says, how much is the insurance on something like that? I don't know. I imagine all these Hollywood stars have got to be incredibly difficult to insure. They're all weirdos. They're all guys, again, let me just tell you straight up. Hollywood stars are all the weirdest kids you went to high school with, right? You understand this, yes? These are all the drama kids, okay? These are all the ones that weren't invited to the parties, unless because there was always, in at least my high school, my drama department had a couple of chicks who were allowed at any party they wanted to go to, if you know what I mean. They had what it took to get into any party, but they didn't want to. They wanted to go hang out with the weirdos, the pre-goths who were smoking, clove cigarettes. That's who Hollywood is, you guys. Hollywood is just a bunch of the weirdest folks from your hometown. You can pretty much say that about any celebrity. You say any celebrity, anybody who seeks out that, anybody who is driven to an elite level of of that kind of desire. Yeah, they're weird. That's a weird person. Most people are just like, I want to have a nice life. I want to have a boat. I want to go on vacations. I want my kids to get a good education. No, not them. Not the weird kids from high school. They go out to Hollywood and they're like, how many dicks do I got to suck before I get a tiny gold statue? That's those people. They're the weirdest kids from your high school. Tom Cruise is going to ruin the closing of the Olympics. Also, let's talk about this one here. Punky Johnson. Punky Johnson is leaving SNL. Punky Johnson, what can I tell you? I'll never forget your... I don't know. Punky Johnson? I mean, I know she is... She's got a great backstory. She's got a really cool backstory about how Punky Johnson came to Saturday Night Live. Punky Johnson was the bartender / barback at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. She was also at times a doorman. Like she worked as a doorman. She was, and this is, this happens a lot with comedians. I mean, you see big star comedians and you learn that, oh, you mean they waited tables at the, Houston Improv? Or Cristela Alonzo is an incredible example of this. Cristela Alonzo, who's one of the country's biggest comedians, network TV shows. She's the voice of the little Latino car, right? And Cars. She started out as the girl who tore your tickets at the Addison Improv. If you went to the Addison Improv back in the early 2000s, so that's a thing. And Punky Johnson started that way. Now it's more common with comedians, but it's not common that, you break out of one of those scenes as someone like that and go directly to Saturday Night Live. She went to Saturday Night Live. This cool story. And now she's gone because she has done absolutely nothing that is memorable. I wish her the best. She seems likable. She seems nice. I just question the amount of talent she's got in her talent tank. That's all. I didn't. What did she do? Anything? Anybody here? Can you help me? Can I? It says Adam Raina says, I believe she's a Chicago girl and she was a bartender at the. There you go. Look at that's the story. Yeah. Well, although not Chicago, she was bartender at the Comedy Store in L.A. But maybe she is from Chicago. I don't know. I just wish she had. I wish she had one character that now that she's leaving Saturday Night Live, I wish she had one character that I can go, oh, remember when she did? But she doesn't. There's like, I don't know what she did. I pretty much think she always appeared on camera as herself. You know, like, oh, you tell me about what you think of that punk. Like, I don't know what she did. I don't know, whatever. She seems nice. She seems fine. She's not going to have a great legacy at Saturday Night Live. I don't know what that's all about. All right, let's get into this now. Let's talk about, I am a sports dad. Do we have any other sports dads here? Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. We got one. I know a couple. There we go. I know we got a couple of sports dads here. So I am very, very on guard about my behavior as a sports dad because, you know, there's a lot of idiots out there. Oh, my God. There's so many sports parent idiots. And this isn't new. This isn't like just this generation. This has always been happening. When I was in high school, I had a kid on my football team whose dad was so obnoxious. His dad was obnoxious and a raging alcoholic and, from what I understand, domestic abuser. But it was the 80s, so we looked past that. His dad was so obnoxious at football games that he was banned from school property. But it just so happens that the school bumpered up against a cornfield. So one of the end zones of the school, of the football field, one of the end zones was, I don't know, about 5-10 yards. There was a fence. And then on the other side of the fence, a cornfield that the school didn't own. So this dude, bad sports dad from my high school experience, this dude went out in the cornfield with a folding chair, a case of beer, and a bullhorn and continued to do the same kinds of shit that got him banned from the field, from the school property. How do you think his son reacted to that? I'll tell you how his son reacted to that. His son used to cry on the sideline. He used to have breakdowns. He used to go and sit on the bench. And here's the other thing, and this probably won't surprise you. When his son wasn't crying on the bench because of the behavior of his father, that kid was an asshole. He was like one of the biggest assholes. That kid, the kid I'm talking about whose dad was behaving so badly, that kid was one of the biggest jerks I went to high school with. He was one of the biggest bullies, one of the meanest kids. And then you see the way his dad behaves and you're like, oh, I get it. That's because that's what raised him. That's why he acts like that. But yeah, in these moments, he was emotionally crushed. So I try to be a good dad. I see myself as dad at my kids' football games as I'm almost like a politician, right? I'm standing up, I'm yelling, I'm high-fiving strangers who are other kids' parents, and I'm talking about them. And one dude, Brian, I remembered his name, and I felt really good about that. And I was like, hey, Brian, what do you think of that? And he's like over there, he's like, rah, 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 rah. Anyway, I think I'm a good sports dad. And I think that the worst thing that I do for my son, or probably to my son in these moments, maybe I embarrass him a little bit with, being too loud or trying to be funny on purpose. Maybe there's, maybe that elicits an eye roll from him. But quite honestly, my kid loves me. My kid thinks I'm funny. So I think my kid's like, that's right, Dad. That's like most of it. We have a good, So I work really hard to be a good sports dad. And not one that just sits there and is quiet and minds his own business. No, I try to get involved. I try to talk to people. I try to meet people. I love it. We're all there. We're a team. All of us parents whose kids play on this particular team. But man, nobody, I don't think you guys probably had this experience too, right? I'm sure you have right now. You're thinking of all these stories about bad sports dads from your childhood. Let me show you the worst that I've seen in quite some time. And we see some bad sports dads because they always in this day and age tend to go viral fairly quickly. But this one happened last night. This is a wrestling match that was going on in North Carolina. So it's wrestling. So it's already like super testosterone, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so here, I'm going to show you this video. And we're going to talk about what's going on here. Just so happens it concerns what looks to be like, it's school wrestling. I don't know if it's high school or what. I know a little something about high school wrestling. So I can tell you what's happening here. There you go. Can you see this? All right, let's just watch it, and then we'll talk about what's happening here.
Let go of his leg.
I got it in 4K, y'all.
All right, so there you go. You saw that. So a kid got called for what looked like I honestly, but we only had the angle of the camera that we were viewing from. I didn't see the reason for the whistle, but okay, but I'm sure there was. So the ref blows the whistle, stands him back up, calls a foul. Not even sure there was a point deduction or anything, but whatever. So he calls the foul, and as he's explaining the foul, out of nowhere, this dad, this big muscle down steroid, don't you point at my kid, comes running out of the stands, and as we saw there, he attacks the ref. You know what? We'll watch it one more time at regular speed so we can see how this whole thing went down. Here we go. One more time. Ready? Go for it. All right.
Oh, he mad.
Let go of his leg.
What is that? A hand? All right, so right there, he's explaining. This is the job of the referee, to explain to the person who's being penalized. Looks like he was calling a back of the head foul. I didn't see that, but whatever, again, angles. But he's explaining to the kid why he blew the whistle, and he gets blindsided by this kid's father, whose objection to this, you remember now he's going to say, I'll play it for you, but remember his objection is, don't talk to my kid that way. This is a referee at a sporting event. You're telling you think in this moment, you fucking inbred hillbilly, you think in this moment that it's appropriate to lecture a referee who is being hired to maintain the safety and quality of this event for your child. You think it's appropriate to tell the referee that he can't speak to your kid. Well, then your kid can't compete, because if the kid doesn't want to listen to the referees, then he's not going to be allowed. This is what dad was thinking in this moment. And we are looking right here at a freeze frame, a big old dumb store. I'm going to calm down. Steroid dad just shoving this high school ref. And look at the kid. Look at the poor kid. The kid is like, oh God, dad, here you go again. All right, now look, now you got trash mom. I used to be hot when I was a beer tub girl, but now I pumped out 5 kids and chain smoke Camels all day, and this is my husband. He's the one that works out. Look at him. He does steroids, though, if I'm being honest. What's going on with these fucking people? Mom is now yelling at the ref. Mom has now decided that at this moment, she doesn't obviously have an independent thought in her fucking head. She sees her husband behave in a way that is obviously criminal. She sees her husband, and in that moment, she decides that instead of trying to calm the situation down, make apologies for the husband, maybe calm the husband the fuck down, she decides she's going to join the husband. She's with the husband. How dare the referee talk to my son that way? The referee was calling a foul. That's what happens in sport. These fucking people. Look at it. He just complained to the referee. His defense is, you don't get in my son's face. All right, let's go back. Let's see him getting in his son's face. Let's.
Let go of his leg.
This is him getting in his son's face. I mean, come on. You're my son's place. Hey. I'm hillbilly and I can't control myself. All these steroids, folks, through my. Look at the size of my lats. The mom just said, "That ain't no way to be talking to no kid." What? He was explaining the foul. He still can't control himself. He still can't. Okay, so the end result of this is the kid in the white, the son, who apparently this was like a gold medal round. The son has been disqualified. Why? Not because of anything that occurred and not because of what his father did. The son is disqualified, and the winner of the match is given to the other kid because during this fracas, the kid wrestler had to leave the mat to control his father, which at that point is considered abandoning the mat, and it's over and you quit. Okay, so he left the mat. That's why he lost. Not because of what, hell, they would have just restarted him, calmed everybody down, and this kid would have been able to compete for whatever it is that he's competing for. They said it was a gold medal.
I got it.
Not at the Olympics, obviously. I mean, this is like some youth league thing, but it is a fairly important youth league thing because these people, this idiot who did this is apparently from Virginia, and this is going on in North Carolina.
I got it in 4K, y'all.
All right, see right now, you see the kid, he walks through those doors, he has stepped off the mat. That is when he lost the match. Yeah, them's the rules. So now, you might be wondering what happened next, right? What happened next? Well, we do have more videotape, and rightfully so, we've got the side of the referee. The referee who was shoved like that has apparently a TikTok account, and he explains everything that happens, and we get to see the fight from a different angle. So this is the referee explaining everything that went down, what we just saw. Let me make sure I get it right for you. Yep. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, here we go. Here's the referee that we saw just get shoved by that idiot dad.
Okay, so this is part 2 of the video that I posted yesterday of the angry dad assaulting me at the kids wrestling tournament. I didn't realize that this would blow up so much overnight, and I figured since it did and a bunch of people are asking me questions, I would post some more commentary here and full explanation. If you haven't seen part 1, go back and watch that because that shows the wrestling that occurred prior to me blowing the whistle. The video that I'm going to show you starts where when I blew the whistle. To tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Sean. I'm a high school wrestling official. I also do some middle school and kids tournaments. I started wrestling at age 4 in Pennsylvania, and some of you probably know about PA wrestling. I was also a Division I wrestler. I coached high school for 15 years, did a little bit of judo, and I train now in jiu-jitsu for about the last 8 years, and also this will be my 8th year for officiating.
All right, so long story short on this guy is he's given his credentials. He's not someone you fucks with, right? He may not be steroid boy who's just in the gym all the time working on beach muscles because he likes to pose in front. No, he's an actual fighter, and I suspected as much because I did wrestle, and I knew a number of the wrestling officials throughout the years of wrestling, and they were all, in fact, badass wrestlers themselves. You know, people do not become wrestling officials who don't really know how to wrestle. So that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, look, I know you saw what happened there, but I want to tell you, first of all, we could have gone, but we didn't. And he goes on to explain.
And I'm also, during the day, I'm an attorney. So in addition to all of that knowledge,
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So it was the attorney side that held him in check where he was like, boy, I could really face up with this guy. I could probably take him down instantly and choke him out and then piss on him. But should I do that? Big muscle beach boy? No. Oh, that's right. I'm also an attorney. I'll work this my way. So that's what's happening now.
I also know how the law works with regards to things like assault. And my wife tells me that this guy picked the right one, whatever that means. But I did want to acknowledge a couple of people that had my back that day. The two officials that you're going to see in the video, Sean and Bill, thank you. You guys stepped in and were helped to diffuse and make sure that this didn't turn into something worse. I also want to acknowledge this woman here. I don't know your name, but you are awesome. If you watch the video, you'll see she is the first person to jump.
Here's what I love about this guy. You know he's scary and you should never mess with him because he's got the badass Pamela Anderson barbed wire on his arm. That's really
to my aid. She was ready to go. Watch the video, rewind it back, and look at her face. She was there at first. So thank you to whoever you are. I met you afterwards and we talked, and you're wonderful. But if anybody knows her name, maybe tag her so that she can be recognized for who she is as well. And then also thank you to the two women who caught the video. You can hear their commentary close to the camera. So thank you to all of you.
All right, come on, more video. Here we go. Wait, here's more video.
To the camera. So thank you to all of you for having my back. So here's the video.
Let go of his leg. Oh my Lord. Okay.
I got it in 4K, y'all.
Is the bad dad, is he one of those short dudes who tries to get 6 feet wide because he can't get 6 feet high? You know these guys? Have you seen these guys? Oh my God, my youth is filled with these dudes. Dudes who never got past like 5'7", but for some reason they decided to juice out and now they're like 5'8" from shoulder to shoulder. That's what this guy looks like. He looks like one of these guys who's overcompensating for the fact that, you know, his wife is taller than him. Although in this case, she's not. But you know what I mean?
Well, there you have it. So I'm okay. The wrestler in the red that I got shoved into is okay, thankfully. The wrestler in the white was disqualified, not because of what these two did, but because he left the mat and left the gym when his parents got kicked out of the gym.
Let me tell you about these two. Look at these parents, okay? I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about these parents. I know these people. They met about 15 years ago. She was a bartender with a slight cocaine problem, and he was a doorman at the same bar. They worked together for years. And then, you know, because she had a bit of a cocaine problem and he was kind of like a health freak, aside from all the steroids that he's obviously doing, she kind of went to him and they came together. And now they're just like the former hot couple who have an asshole kid and they behave like assholes. And now they're a viral laughing stock.
There were no other coaches there, only these three. So, and I did take out charges. Immediately after the tournament, I went to the magistrate, took out charges for assault on a sports official. In North Carolina, that's a class 1 misdemeanor. That's a level higher than a regular assault. And in many states, it's a felony to assault a sports official.
Say his name. Say it.
Joshua Shane Hammond from Richmond, Virginia. I hope you're happy.
Yo.
You know, you ruined this event.
Hold on, one more time.
I hope states it's a felony to assault a sports official. Joshua Shane Hammond from Richlands, Virginia. I hope you're happy. You know, you ruined this event for your son, the whole experience for a number of kids. You almost injured that other wrestler. and thankfully you didn't. But your son had a chance to get a gold medal that day, and you deprived him of that because you couldn't control yourself based on what you thought was a bad call. So I hope you're happy with yourself. And if you ever decide to come back to North Carolina, there's at least one warrant for your arrest waiting for you.
Oh, yeah. Woo, way to get him. Anyway, that I thought was an interesting little story. We had 2 pieces of video there. Let me tell you something though about that guy. We saw him. You saw how angry he was, and then he's like, ah! He's all like roided out. He's like losing his fucking mind. That guy, 12 hours, 10 hours, I don't know, after all of that took place. That guy, that big muscled up, I'm a real man, son. You need to be more of an alpha. You know, that guy. About 10, 12 hours after that incident, that motherfucker was crying in his kitchen like a little fucking bitch boy. And his wife was angry. And she's like, I can't believe you would do this. And the son is upstairs, so pissed at dad. And dad thinks he could make it all better by just going, I just love my boy so much. I'm sorry. But he did that. He fucking collapsed emotionally. You know how I know it? Because anybody who erupts emotionally like that is also very likely to crash emotionally in the other. Don't question me. I've been in therapy for 20 years. I know exactly how to manage the roller coaster that is our human emotion from moment to moment. It's how, you know, I might be the kind of person who can rage, and then bring it right back down. He doesn't know how to do that. He has no idea, that man. That man is an emotional infant. So I just like to think of him crying in his kitchen to his wife who's fucking livid and his son who won't speak to him. There you go. And he's got a warrant out for his arrest in the great state of North Carolina. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? I think we're going to close it out with that. We got a couple other things we could talk about. But I got to close out. I got a bunch of stuff that I got to do today. As I said, it's kids weekend. I got the boy, so I got to get him, but not for a while. Got some other things they got to do around here. Thank you so much to everybody. You know what? No, we're going to do one more thing. Here, I got something for you. Yeah, why not? I'll play this. So I found this clip. I thought this clip was funny. I thought maybe you guys would get a kick out of it. So I'll play it for you, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. This is comedian John Heffron, who, weirdly enough, Kelly, you remember my partner Kelly? Kelly knows John real well. Kelly was on a radio show with John like 25 years ago. John was a part of one of the Danny Bonaducci shows that Kelly was the mastermind behind the scenes on. So, and I think like John Heffron's been a comedian. He's been around forever. He's been around for a long time. Now that I think about it, probably when Kelly worked with him in like the late 90s, maybe he was like 20. So maybe that's why it still seems like he's relevant and around. Maybe he's not as old as I thought. But anyway, he's got a funny clip here. I wanted to show this to you, and it actually deals with the idea of getting older. You know, Gen X realizing that they're getting older. I thought you guys might get a kick out of this. It's pretty clever and pretty good as a starting point for a comedy bit. Here you go. This is John Heffron, and I believe. Wait, let me make sure I got the. Yeah, is it all up? All right. This is John Heffron on Gen Xers entering old age.
Here's what I think being in your 50s is. You are adolescent old age. Okay? You are in your 50s. You are the youngest of the old people. You are old people freshman class. So you're kind of excited about this new phase, but I think there should be freshman orientation for old age. There's a lot of things you got to deal with 50 plus that you have no training for. When you're in 8th grade, you go to orientation. When you're in high school, you go to freshman orientation for college. I think this should happen in your 50s. Nice little weekend getaway. You can meet some new friends that are your age. You can ask everybody what courses they're taking. Hey, man, what courses you got this semester? Oh, I'm taking how to take car keys away from a parent. that I follow my grandkids on social media. And I got $7,000 in my 401k and have to retire in 6 years. That's a tough semester, man. What do you got, John? I got intro to bird feeders, pickleball, and a balance class.
All right, John Heffron. I played that because I found it and I thought it was funny, but also it's good to see him still around. He was a funny guy, and I haven't seen John Heffron in a while. So maybe he got out of comedy and now he's back doing it. All right, folks, that's going to do it. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll be back on Monday. It is Pledge Week. Thank you for making it what it is. Drop a dime if you can. Help us continue to do this show. And we'll be back here on Monday, as we are each and every Monday through Friday, round about noon, live from the E-Gallery in the fabulous Dallas Design District. I am Pugs Moran. This has been the Stream of Consciousness Rant on the RadioMisfits.com platform. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Love you.